Hello, my name is Naomi. I'm a Conquer Pepiga, and I'm here to show you what I believe is the best English 2TC build that there is, and I believe the fastest. So, what we're going to start this build with is a unique opening, a 9-2 opening, 9 on food, and 2 on gold. The standard opening right now is a 7-3 opening, 7 on food, 3 on gold. But this 9-2 opening, I believe, is objectively superior to 9-3 and accomplishes the exact same goal, which is simply getting feudal as fast as possible. It gets feudal faster, and because it gets feudal faster, it means that you can get your first knight faster, you can get your first horseman faster, you can get your TC faster, like in this build. So, if you want to apply the 9-2 opening that I'm going to show you to other things, then feel free to do it, but I think playing second TC English is the best way to play English, so that's what I'm going to show you. So it is a bit more complicated than the 7-3 build, but it's not too bad. It's pretty easy. First thing you want to do, you want to select 6 villagers and send them to the sheep. And as soon as you send them to the sheep, you want to click on the sheep and just hold your right mouse button and just move it upwards a bit, and this will send the sheep into the TC. And if you do it fast enough, you can send them onto the sheep and then select the sheep and send the sheep closer to the TC before they finish killing it. Next thing you want to do is you want to pull one villager as fast as possible before it starts getting food and just make a mining camp with it on the gold. And then you want to select your scout and grab these 2 sheep. And of course, you want to make villagers from your town center as fast as possible. It's very important to get sheep quickly, because when sheep are up against the TC, the method I showed you, where you select the sheep, hold right mouse button, and drag your right mouse button into the TC and release, you're going to be doing that. It increases your food income pretty significantly, so it's very important to get the best timings. But it cuts off half of the sheep, because half of the sheep is buried in the TC, and you can't have villagers standing inside the TC, right? So you're going to need a decent amount of sheep extra to ensure that all your villagers are gathering food. So as you can see here, just getting the 5 on sheep, scouts gathering sheep, 1 villagers going to gold, and you want to rally the first villager onto the food, send your scout to get more sheep. Now, once you send that first villager onto food, you have 6 on food, you want to rally your TC in the direction of the gold, and you're going to use that villager to build a house, and then shift-click it onto the gold. And then rally back onto food. So you have 9-2. Classic 9-2 opening. As you can see, the sheep are halfway in the TC. Alright, so you have 9 food, 2 on gold, and you're gonna rally to the wood. So, at this moment, you want to have 2 control groups ready. I'm going to assume for the purposes of this guide that you know what control groups are. And you want to select 2 villagers and put them in one control group, and 3 villagers and put them in another. So I put 2 villagers in control group 2, 3 villagers in control group 3. And this is important because you're going to need to split the villagers onto wood and stone once you have feudal. And that's going to be a lot faster if both groups of villagers that you need to split off are bound to a control group. So you're rallying onto the wood. And feudal is coming up very, very fast. I'll get it at 213, and I'm sending the 2 gold villagers to make my landmark. It can be Council Hall or Abbey, but I recommend Council Hall. It's generally a safer option. You have your first villager rallied onto wood, making the lumber camp. And what you're going to do is you're going to send 2 villagers to wood, and 3 villagers. Oops. 3 villagers to make a mining camp on stone. You're gonna want to drop off the food they have first and then do that. So as you can see, I was pretty slow with it, but... Oh, and another important thing, if you're going to do this, you want to make sure that you have a villager in the queue, because you don't want to cut off your villager production. So when you do this, you should have your second villager rallying to wood coming out of your TC, and then these 2 villagers coming to wood, so you have 4 on wood, and you have 3 on stone, and you want to rally the next villager onto stone. So you have 4 on wood, and then you'll have 4 on stone with the next villager. There you go. Now, after this villager comes out, and you have 4 on stone, you just want to rally the rest onto the wood. And once that's done, you can just AFK, send your scout around, enjoy the roses, the lovely grass, and the butterflies on the berries. Somebody has a big fire in the house. Jeez. It's smoking all over. So, feudal is almost done. You can have your TC soon. Alright, so you should have your resources for your TC around 445. I can get it 445 pretty much every game, but you know, if you suck at the game, if you can't press buttons, then maybe you'll get it around 450, the resources for your TC. And I think I'm sending 8 villagers onto the TC, which is what I recommend for building it. So it's very important to know where to place your TC. So certain civs, such as French and Delhi, have very quick, aggressive options. They won't do it every game, but they can do it. The meta build for French right now gets the Knight tier base on Dry Arabia around 530 to 540. So in that case, you want to build your TC in your base, right? You don't want to go to Deer and build it, because that's pretty risky. So versus aggressive civs like Delhi and French, I would recommend just building it in your base, unless you're, you know, actively scouting your opponent and you're sure that you can get away with building it on Deer. Because building it on Deer is better, because you can secure a food source. Building in your base is a lot safer. I think it also depends on your follow-up. If you want to go straight to castle, and you're going to be, you know, building farms, then I think it's better to have both TCs in your base, have a more defensive setup, build farms, go to castle quickly. But if you're going to be playing feudal, you want that extra food. If you are placing it in your base, you want to sort of use it like it's a big outpost and put it on either berries or gold, which are, you know, both pretty exposed resources. Gold is more exposed, but I put it on berries here because otherwise I'd have to walk all the way there and I'd lose quite a bit of time on my TC. But versus defensive civs like Abbasid or China, who probably won't be boosting out horsemen at your base, or someone like Mongols, which kind of is slow, you should be safe getting it on Deer. But, you know, just scout your opponent. If you see them making a stables at like 4 minutes, they get a really fast feudal, then make it in your base. But if you see them like mining stone, going for a TC, then feel free to make it on the Deer. Another important thing that I forgot to do in this replay, but it's very important. As soon as you get the resources for your TC, you want to rally your main TC onto food to ensure that when this TC finishes, you'll have enough food from the extra villagers you rally onto food to produce from this TC. It's very important to do that. As for the follow-up from this build, I think there are really 2 main ways to follow up. One of them, you just put 6 on gold, 6 on food, you start making farms, and you just turtle up and go to castle. This is a style I've seen Beastie Cutie do a lot on ladder. The other way to play is making a stables, going going longbowmen, spearmen, playing aggressive, maybe try to get some harassment, just controlling the map. Maybe you're versus French and you want to play defensively or reactively. This is also a fine way to play. Big thing is that you're pretty much always going to have a nice sort of eco-tempo advantage with the really early TC. But, you know, if the enemy's going 3 TC, even though your first TC is probably earlier than theirs, they're going to catch up pretty quickly. So you want to have a plan for that. That plan is either going to be aggression or going to castle. Versus civs that are going 2 TC, like maybe you're playing versus a 2 TC French, you don't need to rush to castle. You don't need to kill them. You're going to outscale, but you don't want to spend too much time in feudal without doing damage. Because if you're versus, say, French, French is going to produce more villages from 2 TCs and eventually outmine you. So just keep in mind that you either want to be aggressive, get map control, maybe do a bit of harassment, or you want to go to castle. And that's pretty much it. I hope this build is helpful. Hope it can terrorize the ladder.